And yes, to answer Boston Paul's question, the podcast is on. Welcome aboard, everybody, on a lovely Friday morning in Boston Paul. Going through the drive-in window so that he can listen to the podcast. I will always tell you, Boston Paul, that's my favorite thing to do. What I do it when I go through a drive-in window, depending upon what brand it is, I always say, the guy behind me's got it when it's time to pay. Now, that doesn't always work, but it's always very interesting. Good morning.
Does it ever work?
No, it never worked. But got in a couple of fights about it. But Boston Paul, good morning to you. Hope you can hear us. Hope that's good. Greg is here after a 2-day absence. I think it was 2. I miss Greg when he's not here. Chris Gallo, Dr. Dennis Timko, the regular Dennis Timko, Aiden Timko, they're all here. DK Luce, Dunky Okie, the Malpal, the Merrill and the Mitchell and the Tommy Johnston and the Triple Play, Unholy Toledo, White Sox Al. We're all here, a cast of thousands. Good morning to you all. Okay, Boston Paul, you got it? Are we on with you, Boston Paul? Andy, I'm just reading something, and this is not baseball. The New York Knickerbockers announced $3,000 ticket prices for new courtside seats. Now, I know you've always done well in your business career and stuff like that. Would you pay $3,000 for a ticket to a Knick game?
Well, I can't say that I wouldn't. I don't.
What? I could say I wouldn't.
If you did, what if you had endless amounts of money like a lot of New Yorkers have? Would
I don't
it matter
know.
$3,000?
When I was in high school,
sit up in front where the cameras are.
When I was in high school, my friends and I used to go on the E train, get to 50th Street and 8th Avenue, and we'd have GO seats. And we'd get into Madison Square Garden to watch the Knicks every Saturday night. They played against, a lot of times, Cincinnati Royals with Jack Twyman and Adrian Smith and those guys. We paid 50 cents a ticket, and I'll bet you I had more fun for 50 cents a ticket than anybody who's paying $3,000.
I don't doubt it.
Okay, so there you go. The phones, I'll tell you what. Yesterday I don't know. I got so many calls. I know a lot of people like I'm not taking the calls. I'm not taking them. Now, I assure you we're going to get more calls. If you want me to answer the phone, just put it in. I know it was talked about yesterday that the phones are the best part of the show. So if a triple play, if you'd like me to answer the phones next time, just put it in the show. Yep. Wayne Embry was there, okay? Aiden's last day of listening for a while.
Hi, Aiden!
He starts schools, okay? I can mute him.
Great job pitching, Aiden.
All right, pitching and hitting. Aiden's my boy. Now, every year we talk about closers. And I came up with it maybe 20 years ago. Don't spend money on closers. I've always taken the position, especially in the auction format, that if you're going to spend $25 for 2 closers, I'd rather put it on a $5 pitcher and have a $30 pitcher as opposed to a $5 pitcher who could hurt you. $30 pitcher will be dominant. Same thing, you put it on 2 hitters, or take $15 and put it on 2 hitters. Now, look at it next year. I don't even know any closers, so I would spend money. Who do you think are the top 3 closers next year in fantasy baseball?
Well, to your point, so not spending money in an auction format for closers, I never really agreed with that completely. I definitely don't spend more than $10 or $12 on a closer. And when you're in an auction, when these closers go early, they're going for $20 or more. And the first 3 or 4 of them do that. And then after that, when people start running out of money, you can get yourself a totally respectable closer for like $8 or $9 or $10. That's what I do every year. Actually, this year I kind of went with your theory and didn't really draft many closers at all. But right now, there are 7 closers that have more than 25 saves. there are 21 closers with 15. There are 20 closers with more than 15 saves. And so I think that there's just no reason to spend a lot of money on a closer when there are so many useful closers. I mean, it was interesting. I asked Malpal who he thought were the top closers for next year. He said Emmanuel Clase,
Yes.
Jordan Romano, and Edwin Diaz.
Interesting that he wouldn't pick Liam Hendricks or Josh Hader. Has Josh Hader fallen off the map? By the way, before we continue, let me just say, Big Al, going on vacation. We're going to miss you.
He already went, didn't he?
No, he's still in the chat room. And somebody tell Boston Paul to refresh, okay? Refresh, it'll get his sound. So you're not saying Devin Williams? You're not saying I would still put Kenley Jansen in there.
I mean, if you're going to, and of course, Kenley Jansen has 28 saves so far. That's huge. But Daniel Bard has 24. Gregory Soto has 22. Scott Barlow, 19. Like, all of these guys are going to be affordable. And
yeah, okay.
And Hader, dude, just pooped out. Earlier in the season, you were talking about Hader as a Cy Young.
That's right.
He's got 29 saves right now.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't had a save since he went to San Diego. He's been horrible with his ERA. On the season is 4.58. His xERA is 3.48. His FIP is 3.71. So he's not as bad as it looks, but he's still horrible compared to what he was. And people spent upwards of $25 on Josh Hader this draft.
Yes, they did.
That's
Big
a
player.
huge mistake. Even though he's got 29 saves, he's already earned a good chunk of money. But then you just go down, we talk about Romano, Clase. I think that Malpal likes these guys because they're younger. They're not at the end of their career, like Kenley Jansen. Liam Hendricks, of course, is going to be good. But I'm just saying, like, you asked me the question yesterday, who are the top three closers? And you said you can't even think of the top three closers, really.
No, couldn't,
because they're not the same guys as last year.
And next year, they won't be the same guys as this year. So already, we're etching it in our kitchen table. Next year, to get two closers, it'll put you into the category. I'm not spending any more than maybe $15 on two closers, and I'll be in the mix. What do you think?
I'm with you.
Okay. And you talk about all kinds of decisions and things like that. Everybody's talking about, they got to fire Boone. Fire Boone. All the Yankee fans. They're 10 games in front, and the Yankee fans are clamoring to get rid of Boone. But what do you think about, look, they picked up, Montas. Frankie Montas, right? And Frankie Montas has absolutely struggled early this season, okay?
Since joining the Yankees, he's got an 11.70 ERA and 21 base runners in 10 innings in 3 starts so far.
Yep, so Frankie Montas has not done it. And on the other side, Jordan Montgomery...
So you were telling people not to pitch.
No, I didn't say that.
You said you didn't like him against Colorado.
Oh, against Colorado. How did he do against Colorado?
That was yesterday.
Oh, yeah, really? But anyway...
He crushed him.
Since he was... was that
that yesterday?
Was that at Colorado?
No, it was at home.
Oh, at home it's different. Montgomery, I predicted at the beginning of the year he was one of my top pitchers in fantasy sports. And since he was traded to the Cardinals, he's started, 3 games? He's pitched 16 innings, 1 earned run, 0.54 ERA, 17 strikeouts. I got to tell you, to 3 walks.
Yeah, just 12 hits and 17 strikeouts
Yep.
compared to 3 walks in 16 and 2/3 innings. So that's tied for the 5th best start to a Cardinal career, okay, with Alex Reyes and John Urea in 1977 and 2016.
Yep, and of course the 1 run on an opposite field hit by Charlie Blackmon. That would have been a double play had the Cardinals not been on a shift, and that ended Montgomery's scoreless streak of 13 in the 3rd inning. So I like Jordan Montgomery. What about Jake DeGrom? I had my daughter's boyfriend called me and said, "Who would you rather have?" Now you know what? It was a very unsophisticated question. No offense, but Jake DeGrom or Mookie Betts. And I said Mookie Betts. That's what everybody would say. 35 strikeouts, 1 walk.
I don't think everybody would say that. It depends on his team. What does he need?
But no, I'm saying, just in general, who would you rather have, Mookie Betts or Jake DeGrom?
Jake DeGrom has 35 strikeouts and 1 walk in his first 4 starts this season. He's the exact same DeGrom that we remember him. That's the second time in MLB history that a pitcher has struck out 35 batters and only walked 1 in his first 4 starts. Who's the other?
I don't know.
It happened last year, actually.
Who was it? I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
The only other pitcher to strike out 35 and only walk 1 in MLB history. It happened last year. Chat room, it's on you.
Oh.
In 4 starts to start the season.
And I don't know.
It's pretty obvious who it is. When you talk about the 1 walk, think of that. Try to put it together. Last year pitcher walked 1 and struck out 35.
Ducky Okie asked a question in the chat room that I don't understand. Okay, it's about spending $15. But anyway, I don't know who the other pitcher was. Do you have it?
Yeah, I know it in my head.
Who is it?
It was last year, Leonard.
Oh, last year did it. Okay.
It was
that's not
one
the name.
pitcher in the National League that you had on your team.
But that's not the name of a player. I say, who was it? You say last year.
I'm trying to give you hints.
I don't want a hint. I want the player. Chicago White Sox were feeling very well after their second consecutive comeback win over the Astros on Tuesday. But reality hit them as they dropped the next 2 games, and with an ugly 21-5 the other day. That's not good for the White Sox. What are you doing? Trying to find the answer?
I'm chatting. I already know the answer. It's in my head.
And you're chatting. George Springer, 4 for 4, 3 hits, and 2 strike counts, 2 runs scored. And I got to tell you what, the Astros were hammering the White Sox.
Mm-hmm. So you love talking about the White Sox, and that's what
I
we're doing
do love
again.
it because Lucas Giolito's disastrous season continues. His ERA now is 5.34 after going 3 or more innings and giving up 7 runs. Anybody in the chat room living and dying with Lucas Giolito? Anybody?
They're probably dying with them right now. Lucas Giolito. Let me pull him up here.
Okay, Scherzer is the answer from Donkey, by the way. Good morning to Zelmo. Games with 10 or more runs at guaranteed rate field this year, the White Sox have 0, and the opponents have 8. So how about that? And the White Sox are actually the 4th team this season to have 11 or more hits, 8 or more walks, and wind up losing the game. What are you doing?
I'm trying to find my information on Giolito that I can't.
All right, all right. So Giolito's just been awful, and but I'm ready to get to the Mariners.
Fine.
All right, that's your team. They can be very dangerous in October with Castillo, Robbie Ray, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby in that rotation. What do you think about the Mariners going forward?
They're 44-25 since June 2nd, 28-12 since July 2nd, 10-5 since August 2nd. They have the best record in the American League over all 3 of those spans.
Okay, and you mentioned the Cardinals against the Rockies. 13. I think they won 13-0, and the Cardinals. You like the Cardinals, don't you?
Love them.
12-3 since the All-Star break. They sit on top of the National League Central.
The Brewers split with the Dodgers, staying 3 games behind the Cardinals in the NL Central and 1.5 games behind the Padres for the final wild card spot. It's quite possible that the Brewers and the Cardinals, who have 2 of the softest remaining schedules, meet up in the first round.
That would be very... What's the matter? You can't find your information?
No.
All right.
Just okay. Struggling because I had a bunch of information on Giolito and I wanted to share it and I don't know where it is.
Okay, well, that's okay.
Everything is...
You'll find it. Not a big deal. And, of course, you like the Cardinals, and so do I. And so do you think that the Cardinals, as it turns out, without giving up 5 big prospects, You think they made the right move for not trading for Soto?
Yes, I do. I never thought they would trade for Soto because it's not really their way of doing things. They don't give up a bunch of prospects for one guy that they might not be able to sign next year. But Albert Pujols he just keeps being my favorite. Him and Machado are my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But Albert Pujols, man, and I'm telling you, when you have Wainwright on the mound, once again, I'm so lucky to be able to do this podcast. The day after, it's Waino, Yachty, and Pujols doing their thing. And then, of course, you have Arenado and Goldie, too, to add to that. But last night, it was the show of Pujols, Waino, and Yachty. And, I mean, they were talking about Adam Wainwright on Quick Pitch today, saying that he's only 10 years away from getting his AARP card, and the first win that he got is old enough to drive a car, meaning that it was 16 years ago when he got his first win. Albert Pujols is hitting .415 since the All-Star break with 5 homers, 15 RBIs, and 41 at-bats. He's produced 6,133 total bases in his career, which is just one behind Stan Musial for second place on the all-time list. Hank Aaron is the all-time leader with 68.56, but Albert Pujols, pinch hit, grand slam, Adam Wainwright, 7 scoreless innings. The Cardinals are just so fun to watch, and when you look at the fans in the background, just having the best time. I mean, who couldn't root for the Cardinals?
Well, did you say they were the first team to have a 40-year-old grand slam? And a 40-year-old throw at least 7 shutout innings in the same game?
I mean, I don't know what they paid Pujols to come back there, but it was worth every penny. Even if he didn't do what he's doing, which is wonderful since the All-Star break, just having him back, he was raised with that team.
In Albert Pujols' first year, before he became Albert Pujols, he was still a number 1 pick coming up from the minor leagues. I had him. I drafted Albert Pujols in his first year. He hit his 16th grand slam.
Is King Happ here today?
I haven't seen him, no. Pujols, in his last 6 games, 10 for 19, 4 homers, 11 RBIs, and a double. That's not bad at all, right?
No, so Elvis Andrus is going to be part of the White Sox now.
Yep, that's what it looks like.
So where's he going to play when other people get healthy?
Well, he's signing with the White Sox and expected to join the White Sox in Cleveland. But like you said, Lurie Garcia went on the injured list.
Yeah, so then that's going to give him a place to play. And Tim Anderson is out, too.
And Tim Anderson. But Elvis, I'll tell you what, Andrus prioritizes playing every day over winning. Now, if you were a player, would you prioritize playing or winning?
Who did he say that? Like, I wonder if that was just a writer's opinion, or if somebody asked Elvis Andrus, like, do you prioritize? I doubt a player would say that to somebody, even if they did prioritize playing every day over winning. You don't say that to anybody. So it leads me to believe that once again, these writers are just making assumptions about what players want. Of course he wants to play every day. I think that what he prioritizes is that he will go to a team that he can play every day over going to a really great team. A really great team where he's going to sit on the bench. He prioritizes going to a place where he could play every day, even if it's not for a team that's going to win the World Series. Maybe that is more like what he is wanting. I don't blame him. Of course he wants to play every day.
Nice to see Boston Paul chatting it up in the chat room. Hopefully you got the sound. The Milwaukee Brewers split with the Dodgers and they're stayed 3 games behind the Cardinals in the National League Central, a game and a half behind the Padres for the wild card spot. It's possible, as we said, the Brewers and the Cardinals, who have the softest remaining schedules, could meet up in the first round.
Devin Williams.
What about
the last couple of years? I've been just drooling for this guy to do something good. And even though I knew that Hader was a closer, we've been assuming that Hader was going to get traded for a couple years now. I don't ever draft players thinking that a player is going to get traded and then he'll get saves that way, but I thought he would be useful because he can pitch multiple innings, he strikes out a ton of batters, and he will get saves every once in a while, so he's still useful for your roster. However, that didn't work out for me last year, and I didn't draft him this year. Next year, he looked okay. Bottom line, Devin Williams looked excellent last night.
Okay.
And he's in charge and he's in command. And
You're going to take him next year without Hader there?
Absolutely, because I think he's going to be affordable
How
compared
much,
to other closers.
How much is he going to go for? How much is Devin Williams going to go for?
I'm
Chat
not going
room.
to pay more than $12.
How much are you paying for Devin Williams next year? 260 format. What are we paying for Devin Williams? And by the way, I've only seen you drool twice.
On your head?
Well, I saw it once on my head.
Where else did I drool? In my sleep?
I don't want to talk about it.
I drooled when I got surgery on my mouth. I drooled for 2 days.
That's very true. Atlanta, 3 out of 4 wins against the Mets. They now sit, 3.5 games back in the National League East.
That's it. The division could be decided the final weekend of the season when the Mets play Atlanta for 3 games.
3 games. Now, what about the Pirates?
The Pirates finally... Okay, the Pirates couldn't beat the Red Sox for a long time.
Yes.
This is the 3rd time in history that the Pirates scored 7 runs on the Red Sox.
Really? That's it? Well, they don't play each other that much.
Okay, the last one was in 2014 and then in the 1903 World Series.
Anoli Toledo and I sat next to each other in that game. Go ahead.
The Red Sox offense is 19th out of 30 in home runs. They didn't hit any home runs in their 3 games against Pittsburgh. Obviously, the offense is floundering right now. They're pitching not so good. I finally put Rich Hill on my bench because I had enough pitchers to fill my roster, and he was the one that I decided to take out because he never gets through 5 innings, so him getting a win is almost impossible. But, of course, when he was on my bench, he got a win.
All right.
All right, so the Mets played the Atlanta Braves. Did we already talk about that?
Yeah, we talked about the Mets and the Atlanta Braves. But
we talked about Elvis Andrus already.
Alex Bregman.
Ugh, Bregman.
Now, you've been saying all along that Bregman's not the player that everybody thinks, right?
Uh-huh.
He had 2 doubles, 2 home runs, and 118 individual player games with at least 2 doubles and 2 home runs.
That's since 1901.
Since 1901.
Yeah, whatever. Alex Bregman, fine. He's going to make contact. He isn't as good of a hitter as he was. His on-base percentage is nothing like it used to be. He can't hit lefties. And so you keep drafting him if you want him. I don't think he's good. He's going on name recognition at this point. Justin Verlander, though, woo! Yeah. You said yesterday that Noah Syndergaard wasn't... Somebody out there, their opinion was, Noah Syndergaard isn't soft.
Yeah.
He's recovering from Tommy John surgery.
Well, Verlander also recovering. He's given up 1 home run in his career in an at-bat that went longer than 10 pitches.
That was Paul Konerko in 2011.
That was Paul Konerko. You remember that, right?
But about Noah Syndergaard, I just have to get my opinion in from yesterday.
Go ahead.
Yeah. He's not soft. I mean, look at him. His body is hard.
Hold on a second. We interrupt this program as Mitchell steps into the chat room.
Hi, Zelmo.
Good morning to
Zoni.
Mitchell. And White Sox Gal's got to run. We'll talk to you on Monday, White Sox Gal. We love you, man.
Have a great weekend, dude.
Hopefully we'll see you if we ever get to Chicago, okay?
At this rate, we're not getting there quick.
At this rate, we're not going anywhere. But we'll see what happens. And Manny Machado.
Hello, King Hap. Hello.
Joined Tony Gwynn and Gary Sheffield as the only Padres to have 8 straight multi-hit games. Is King Hap here?
Yes. Hello, King Hap.
Listen, there he is. The king of all hapless.
Happy birthday, right?
King Hap. Happy birthday, King Hap.
Yeah, the older you get, the longer you get to celebrate your birthday, by the way.
That's right.
But here, we just talked about Albert Pujols, and King Hap, I think he has $100 on Pujols hitting 20. He needs 20 home runs from Pujols.
Really?
Yes.
Who do you make that bet with?
I'm not really sure, but I think that was his bet, and I'm rooting for him every time I see Albert Pujols' name. I say, oh, good.
20 home runs from Pujols. Do you know who the Major League Baseball leaders in total bases are? Number 1, we know. That's got to be Aaron Judge. But who do you think is number 2 in total bases in Major League Baseball?
Dansby?
No, but Dansby's... I got some stuff about Dansby.
How about Turner?
Atlanta's trying desperately to
Goldie?
sign. No, Goldie's number 3.
He is?
And you mentioned Turner. He's number 5.
How about Riley?
So number 2 and number 4 from the... Yeah, right. Austin Riley. What an underrated player. He is 2nd in Major League Baseball in total bases, and Freddie Freeman is number 4. So it goes Judge, Riley, Goldschmidt, Freeman, and Turner. How about that? Okay. Now, I'm looking at the playoff.
Oh, it's 1,000.
What?
Okay. He says $100, but 10 more. If Pujols hits 10 more homers, he'll get $1,000.
Wow.
No, Syndergaard is not a top 30 pitcher, in my opinion.
He hasn't pitched poorly, but you can't really count on him. To be a top 10 pitcher, you got to be able to count on the guy.
Can you count on him?
No.
You can count on him to be soft?
You just can't. You
can count on him to recover from
Who
Tommy
else
John.
could you count on to be soft? Is there any other player?
Byron Buxton.
Name another player you can count on to be soft.
G-Man Choi.
Okay.
Did you see G-Man Choi running around the bases yesterday?
No, did you? I guess you did. What?
Okay, so he hits a ball. It's almost out of the park, but Tyrone Taylor. He saved it, and it came back in. And G-Man Choi should have stayed at second because he is a little pudgy and probably doesn't run that fast. But It was looking like you running the bases. But he decided to try to get to third. Yeah, like you. He looks like you running the bases because he's not quick.
Okay, well,
and he's big.
Don't forget all the features you've seen of me running the bases were all like walk-offs, and the people cheering for me. So I do it a little slow. Playoff chances.
Oh, you do it so you could get more cheers?
I find this very interesting. Fan graphs. All right.
Do you know how many times I've had to record Lenny running the bases, and he'll say, "Hurry, record me now," and I'll be like, "Oh, please, I'm so embarrassed," and he'll just keep doing it, and all the girls they always wave at him, "Hi, legend."
Are you really embarrassed when I do that?
I mean, I've gotten over that a long time ago, but yeah, a little bit.
American League teams, as of fan graphs, of course, the Astros 100%.
This is the playoff chances.
Playoff chances. I'm a little interested
Mariners
to see.
are 91.1%. Let me just take a second to say that the Mariners haven't been in the playoffs since 2001. The longest streak not making the playoffs of any team in all four major sports in the country. That includes football, basketball, hockey, baseball. They got a 91.1% chance to make the playoffs.
Merrill is here, and Toledo. Luis Robert may be the softest player in the major leagues. Luis Robert. Now, I'm surprised the White Sox chances of making the American League playoffs, 43%. They've got a lot of teams, Twins, the Guardians, the Rays. I'll take the White Sox to win the Central Division. How about that?
They're only 2.5 games behind the Guardians and the Twins. They're in third right now in the American League Central. But if you look at the list of the playoff chances, it goes in order: Guardians, Twins, White Sox. So they're not separated by very much. And 2.5 games is not that much. So the White Sox are finally healthy for the most part. They still have Tim Anderson out. Lurie Garcia is the worst leadoff batter that ever lived, so he's not a huge loss. But now they have Elvis Andrus, who... And
the Orioles are only 2.7%. All right, what do you think? Do you really think that the Orioles have a chance to make the playoffs?
Wait, did you just say they're only 2% chance?
2.7%.
Yes, I do, and I'm rooting for them every single day.
The Tigers, the Royals, the Angels, the Rangers, and the Athletics are all at 0, no chance, according to Fangraphs.
What are these based on?
Based on Fangraphs' opinion on who's going to make the playoffs. Marilyn Mitchell sitting together in the chat room. That's a yip, yip, hooray. Kenny Flammy is here. Good morning to Kenny. Okay. As we say, have a good vacation to Big Al. Okay? Big Al on the prowl. Now,
what is going on with our prizes? We've sent out... Okay, now I've sent at least $15 worth of lottery tickets.
I have no idea.
Is it not legal to send lottery tickets
I don't
in the
know,
mail?
but only 2 people didn't get them. Jeremy Gibbs didn't get them.
I got to ask Jonathan J.R. Matz because he got. I sent him one for all of his kids, too.
We'll see. Okay, we'll see what happens. Now, you talked about the Mariners. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2001, and they have a game and a half lead for the top wildcard spot.
With their 11-7 win, the Mariners have gone from 10 games under 500 to 11 games over 500 in the span of 60 days.
Not too bad. You mentioned
Dansby.
You mentioned Dansby Swanson.
I like him.
Now, Atlanta has signed a bunch of players, and they would love to keep Dansby Swanson and sign him to a contract extension. He's eligible for free agency after this season.
He's on pace to finish the season with 184 hits, 51 walks, 103 runs, 22 homers, and he's got a slash line of 292, 347, 455.
Wow.
Dansby with a heart.
Now, here's an interesting question for you.
Machado. You skipped to Machado.
Did I skip Machado?
Machado joins Tony Gwynn and Gary Sheffield as the only Padres to have 8 or more straight multi-hit games. You look at Manny Machado's statistics. You look at his little bar graphs on RotoWire.
Yes.
Every single one of them is green. Every one of them. Manny Machado is a macho man.
Well, listen to this. Now, this is interesting, especially if you're in the chat room. This is fascinating. Framber Valdez.
One of Malpal's favorite pitchers.
That's right. Pitchers with 20 straight quality starts in a season who have won the Cy Young that year.
Well, wait a minute.
If you have 20 straight quality starts, you got a good chance to win the Cy Young. Jake DeGrom did it. Gibson did it in 1968. Arrieta, Carpenter, Santana, Mike Scott. The only one who has not won the Cy Young Award with 20 straight quality starts in a season is who?
Framber.
No. Well, yes, but the season's not over.
Okay.
And he may
Luis
win.
Tiant.
Yeah, you're right.
I know his first name, right?
Luis Tiant, 1968, the only pitcher not to win the Cy Young Award with 20 straight quality starts. And what about Framber?
Well, he's 12-4 with a 2.72 ERA and a 1.14 WHIP. Okay, that was his 20th straight quality start. That is excellent in point leagues. I'm telling you that these are things that you should look at. Quality starts in points leagues because of the amount of innings the points that you get for innings, and a lot of times in points leagues you'll get something for a quality start. But so. Will he win the Cy Young? No, he's not good. The quality starts don't win you a Cy Young.
But they have, in the past, By the way, Kenny Flammy is in the chat room and says, sorry he's late. What did I miss? Okay, let's take...
well, you missed a few arguments.
Let's take 15 seconds. Wait a second. Let's play Kenny Flammy and what he missed. Kenny Flammy is in the chat room. Thank you.
You just read off your script that you say to spammers when they call.
Yeah, that was the whole thing since 9 o'clock.
When spammers call, Lenny does that.
Well, I do more than that, okay? But I got so many new gimmicks for the spammers that I had to stop answering the phone yesterday. Really?
It's funny because we asked Mark is Lenny's son, and he lives with us half the time, and he lives with his mom. And we asked him, how many spam calls do you get at your mom's house? How many times does the phone...
0, he says.
He says they don't get hardly any. Our phone rings...
every second of the day. But I like it. And Timothy Hooker has joined us. Good morning, Timothy. Who's the only player in baseball history with 3 or more games of 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts? Let's see how good you are in the chat room. And without Jeremy Gibbs here, we may have a chance. But the only player in baseball history, and he's playing, to go 3 or more games, 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. Who is it?
Well, if you don't tell who it is, then I can't give the other information that I rounded up about this player.
All right, I want to see if anybody can get it, okay? And it happens to be somebody that I used to draft every year. Yeah, that was Fast Forward. That's right. Okay?
This person is...
And only Toledo's got it. Javier Baez. Javi Baez, the only player in baseball history with 3 or more games of 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts.
Do you remember when we Jeremy Gibbs asked the question, who should I take for
Yes,
O'Neal
that's right.
Cruz or Javi Baez, and
Right.
we disagreed on that one, and I have to say O'Neal Cruz is probably better, but I will say this. Javier Baez has stolen 3 bases, in the last 7 days with a .310 batting average and hasn't been caught stealing at all. He hasn't hit home runs in that week, but is he stealing bases again, this guy?
Mm-hmm.
3 in the last week, but I talk about Manny Machado's bar graphs at RotoWire where you could kind of see just quickly, every one of his is red. Everyone.
Is that crazy?
Except for his barrels per plate appearance, but every single one. His on-base percentage is .269, His walk rate is 4%. He's still striking out way too much. And his contact rate actually is higher than it's ever been this year. His contact
Well,
rate.
Javi?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And his strikeouts have
How
gone
many stolen bases does he have on the year so far?
3.
Three.
I don't know how many on the year. I only
Well,
know
that's the question.
in the last 3 weeks he has 3.
Okay, that doesn't help me at all.
He
But
doesn't have that many. He wasn't stealing any
he
bases.
that's why I'm asking the question. Now, you talked about Lucas Giolito just before. You say you didn't, you had a bunch of, you couldn't find him.
Yeah. There it is. There it is.
Yeah, okay. He was, in 2019, he was 6th in the Cy Young. In 2020, he was 7th. 2021, he was 11th. This year, will he even sniff a vote? I don't think so.
Right-handed batters are hitting .336 off of Giolito. Lefties are hitting .230. That's horrible because most of the population is right-handed batters. His velocity on his fastball is down from 93.9 to 92.9, so it's a whole mile an hour less. He's given up more home runs than he has in the last 4 or 5 years. And he's walking 3.5 batters per 9. His graph is a lot different. I mean, it's just not that good. His whip is 1.53. That is horrible. That whip, and his ERA is 5.34. That is just absolutely insane. He's 9-7. He still strikes out batters, but that's about it. He's horrible this year. He's 28. Can he bounce back next year? Yes, he can.
Yes, he can. But
But his velocity is telling me that maybe there's something underlying that we have a problem.
Did anybody in the chat room think that Cueto was going to have a more impressive season this year than Giolito?
No.
Nobody.
Right-handed batters are batting .336 off of Giolito.
Oh, really? The White Sox have one game this season where a player has homered more than once. It was Abreu. They ranked 30th out of 30 in multi-homer games. Only one.
They have one multi-homer game
Yeah.
all year. Yankees have 18 and the Phillies have 13
That's right.
multi-home run game. And yes, in the last 60 plate appearances, Jose Abreu has 1 extra base hit. But if you look at his stats over the last couple weeks, he's still batting. In the last 7 days, he's batting .458. In the last 2 weeks, he's batting .340. He's still an excellent batter, and all his bars are green. Once again, this is like a Manny Machado type player here. Set it, forget it. He's not hitting home runs right now, but who cares? He's still doing his thing. And the biggest problem with him is that he's lacking RBIs. In the past 2 weeks, he has 1 RBI. And that speaks for what are the people doing around him not getting on base.
Unholy Toledo, we talked about the Yankees and their mistake of giving up Montgomery. The mistake that the White Sox made is brought, Unholy Toledo brings us up, of letting Rodon just leave was huge. That set the tone for the season.
I don't think that set the tone for
I
the
think
season.
it does.
Rodon was nothing, dude, before last year. That he was nothing. Were they supposed to give him a huge contract when he performed well one time? Were they supposed to pay him a bunch of money? I mean, San Francisco got him. He's been okay. He hasn't been like he was at the White Sox, but...
Now, only 2 players have reached base multiple times, 66 times this season. Most games reaching base multiple times this season in the American League, 2 players have 66.
Abreu.
Abreu is one, and, of course...
Aaron
Judge.
Because Aaron Judge is the answer to every question.
And what about Yohan Moncada? Only the second time in his career he's grounded into a double play. in the month of August.
Yeah, but the White Sox did you already talk about the White Sox? How many times they grounded a double play?
No.
They lead the league with runners in scoring position when for ground outs into double plays. With runners in scoring position.
Yep.
The White Sox are horrible at that. So Yoel Moncada did it one time. He's horrible. You should never draft him.
And Jordan Alvarez and Aaron Judge are the only...
Aaron Judge is always one of the only two.
Yeah, the only two players in the league with more home runs than Andrew Vaughn in the 7th inning or later. Only Jordan Alvarez and Aaron Judge are the only two players in the league with more home runs than Andrew Vaughn.
Andrew Vaughn is a good hitter, very good, true hitter. What do we call them? Pure hitters.
Pure hitter.
A pure hitter.
And then, of course, you got Jose Altuve and Jordan Alvarez combined for 51 home runs. Okay? And, but not in leverage situations.
My coffee cup is leaking.
Her coffee cup is leaking. Anybody know who Ron Maracchio is? Ron Maracchino. Does anybody know who he is? If you don't, it's unbelievable how much we talk baseball, and here's a guy with an 0.37 ERA in his last 20 games, the lowest in the American League in that span. And who is he? Ron Maracchio, a pitcher for the Yankees. It's
big deal.
Pretty good. All right, some interesting information coming up.
Mike Soroka.
Yeah.
He's going to pitch on Sunday. What does that mean?
Well, he's going to pitch in the minors on Sunday, and that could lead to some starts in the major leagues.
So he's going to start at Gwinnett, which is AAA.
Yep.
He'll make 2 starts there on the 26th and the 31st, and then roster expansion on September 1st. He will be something to watch.
And then the Yankees brought up Oswaldo Cabrera.
He hit 29 homers in the minors, okay?
Yep,
and stole 21 bases.
30, he could be good. He missed some time this season. He had a shoulder impingement. Did you ever have an impingement?
You're an impingement.
I'm an impingement. So he's looked better than he did since July 4th. He's hitting .340 with 8 home runs, 26 RBIs, 11 steals. He's 14% owned. If you have a chance to get him, go get him. And if you're looking for a pitcher, do not count on James Paxton. Another roadblock. He looked okay to begin his rehab assignment, and then forget about it.
That's horrible. He was pulled from his start after 2 batters, and that was injury related. That is not good, dude.
So, not good. All right, a couple other things before we go. I don't think we're going to get to the games.
I'm rooting for Pujols every day.
Okay. It's interesting. Luis Castillo, who I think is going to be the best pitcher in the American League.
You should tell Douglas that. And
then some people say, what about Ohtani? Well, ERA, Castillo is 2.71, and now he's pitching in Seattle, 2.68 for Ohtani. Strikeouts, okay, Ohtani's got him by 157 to 105. But in whip, Ohtani is better, 105 to 104.
No, whip is better for Luis Castillo.
Yeah, Luis Castillo. And opponent's batting average.
Luis Castillo's better.
Castillo is better. How about that?
So the whole American League, National League thing with pitchers doesn't count anymore, right?
I don't think so.
Since there's a DH everywhere?
Boston Paul reminds us that Moncada and Kopech for sale.
He's answering a question.
He'll still make that deal.
He'll make the deal, Moncada and Kopech for sale.
Yeah, because that was the deal. And at the time, they got criticized. For trading Chris Sale. Lowest hard hit rate allowed. You know who's number 1 in lowest hard hit rate?
Is that for a pitcher?
Well, who else gives up hard hit rate? Yes, for a pitcher.
I don't know.
Julio Urias. Alek Manoah. Alek Manoah. And he's tied for second with Tyler Anderson.
So they're giving up a lot of hard hits? Is that what it is? Or lowest?
It's the lowest hard hit rate. And to me, that means something. Okay. Got to thank everybody for supporting us. Lady and the Legend, Boston Paul, thanks for making us in. Big Al and the Prowl, have a great vacation. Greg, nice, lovely to see Greg in the chat room, of course. The DK Loosh, the King Hap, the Mal Pal, the Martha 123.
Marta.
Marilyn Mitchell.
Martha.
Timothy, my hooker, Unholy Toledo, White Sox Gal, Zelmo. Thank you all for being in here. King Hap, of course, he's here. Whether we want him to be or not, he'll show
I
up.
like King Hap. He's on vacation looking at the lake.
And don't forget, Boog Pal bobblehead doll tomorrow.
What?
Boog Pal.
What?
Bobblehead. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you again on Monday. And here's my phone number. Once again, nobody ever uses it.
The spammers do.
Yes, spammers do. There you go. Thanks,
Have a great day, weekend, everybody. See you Monday.
Bye.